What is the biggest issue facing America today?
I would say the housing market,
Okay.
affecting a lot of the younger generations.
There's not like a cumulative knowledge of what the truth is, and everyone has my truth.
Getting born is the most important issue of our time, I'd say.
Gun control.
I agree.
I don't think it needs to be like eliminated, like no guns, but like I think there needs to be more laws in place to like make sure to authorize people before they buy guns.
Okay.
I think our society is like furthering farther and farther from reality. In the long term, like when all the older generations die out and we're the ones left to save the world, I think it's going to be really hard for us to be in real time in reality.
Inflation.
Poverty.
I think it's the government spending. I think they have their priorities wrong.
I would say, honestly, the standard of living. It's pretty expensive to live in this country.
People disagreeing. People not giving each other like the chance to understand one another.
The border crisis.
Who do you guys think is censored more, liberals or conservatives?
Conservatives without services, no question.
Why are conservatives censored so much?
I feel conservatives are more truth-based than feeling-based, and everyone gets their feelings hurt, and they don't like that.
Conservatives, because a lot of the news is on the left side.
I would say conservatives.
I say conservatives.
Okay.
I'll say the same.
Maybe conservatives. I feel like you don't really see conservatives voicing their opinions as much as liberals.
They both censor each other like quite a lot. I don't know if I could pick one or the other.
Is hate speech free speech?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can still say what you want.
By definition, free speech is free speech. Your feelings aren't protected under any constitution, but your speech is.
I mean, you can try to speak out of love and not speak out of hate.
Yeah.
Ultimately, there's no law that prohibits you, even though
Right.
you should.
I would prefer it's not.
I
would, yeah, I prefer it not. There's no need for that.
I don't think it is.
I think it is, and sometimes we just need to be okay with it, even if it just sounds wrong. What we think is disgusting or, like gross in our minds is wrong, but it's actually not, And so that's the same thing with hate speech, right? Like we think it's wrong because it sounds wrong.
But it doesn't.
Really, it's not.
It is free speech, but I do think there are some things that like you probably just shouldn't say.
To a degree, yes. But then again, there should be a limit somewhere,
Technically, anyone has the right to say whatever they want. It's not good. They shouldn't. Hate speech should not be said. No one deserves to be discriminated against. So.
No, hate speech is not free speech. Hate speech is speech that directly identifies a group and acts as a form of threat. To my understanding, the Constitution clearly defines that hate speech is not free speech, and that if you are harassing, haranguing, or threatening violence against a group, it is not covered under the First Amendment.
By definition, yeah, you're allowed to say whatever you want. Everybody else is also allowed to like decide the consequences for you. It's not just a free whatever you want to say.
What kind of punishment do you think should be put onto people that do engage in hate speech?
That's a difficult question because, again, through the rise of the internet, anonymity is an issue. People can say whatever they want, and they are under the guise of an anonymous username, and that's how hate speech is toiled. So I think it's ultimately up to the privatized corporations of which these social media platforms exist to enforce those policies. I don't know what the exact right punishment would be.
It gets to a certain extent of like harassment. I mean, if you're not breaching that, no.
First Amendment protects all speech, so there really shouldn't be any punishment no matter how much you dislike what they're saying.
First, you got the First Amendment is there for a reason. Ultimately, like hate speech depends on people's view on what you're saying. So people could argue against what you're saying anyway.
True.
So.
I don't think so. Unless it's like a threat, then I don't think so. Yeah.
Do you feel like free speech is actually protected in America today?
In comparison to other countries, yes.
Full answer is no, but 90% of it, yes.
Not as much as it should be.
Yeah, with cancel culture, and especially because social media is owned by companies, the companies can censor you. And so I feel like it doesn't fully support it. It's getting better.
Not enough, I'd say.
I think so. I feel like no, just because like everything you do nowadays is really monitored. I don't think so.
I don't
No.
think so either. It's like up to society, like what's the right thing to say.
Not really. I still think there are a lot of things that you probably just shouldn't say, a lot of like rude things. But I think, even if you say them and their opinions that you have, they can still like get your life ruined.
As far as the government goes, it is protected, quote unquote, but what we have to understand is that the government isn't always going to be in there in the middle. It shouldn't be in the middle, otherwise we're going to lose a lot of freedoms, right? It's up to the people to decide.
How do you think we can move away as a generation from cancel culture and censorship?
Just getting along with each other, like having open minds towards other opinions. Yeah, it's pretty simple. And like, don't go out and like try to like ruin someone's day. Just like be open, like be an open person.
I think just being kind. Like no matter what, like you're just kind to people, whether they've done wrong or right. Just kind of them.
There's some people that already do it and they just ignore the cancel culture.
True.
They say what they want to say and people get drawn to it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way to really combat it.
The best way to, I guess, fight it is to not embrace it. And
Yeah.
even if it's against people you don't like, if you embrace on others, people are going to embrace on you.
Yeah.
So you just have to do what you want others to do to you, basically.
Honestly, grow up, accept that people are different and that people have different opinions, and just don't be so offended like with everything.
I personally believe cancel culture is mostly just holding people accountable. I think cancel culture is, if not sometimes a bit extreme, in most cases, saying to people, you know, we don't want what you toil, we don't want what you push. It's an extension of popular will to say to people, you know, your actions are wrong and we don't agree with them. On the extreme ends, you know, people are possibly canceled for false reasons or something like that, but I think it's a lot less frequent than people may suggest.
So would you say that cancel culture to an extent is kind of positive in a way?
Maybe not positive, but I think the ability of people, specifically on the internet and using the internet, to sort of speak truth to power and say, you know, these activities by which you act and the people by which you discriminate against or something like that is wrong. I think it is a positive tool. The internet being a tool for which a positive aspect is.
I really respect your answers. One of the things that I do in my job is I travel the country and I interview college students across the country, and it's really, honestly, refreshing to be able to have conversations like this, because I may not agree 100% with your statements, all of them, but there is a part of me that does agree with a lot of the things that you said. So I really appreciate you engaging.
Yeah, thanks.
It's really awesome.